Okay, Rebecca Coad, you're running for Vancouver Quadra, and the elections next month, which is March
17th.
March 17th. Okay, is this the first time you're running?
Yes, this is the first time I've run.
All right, and you've seen our nowpolling.ca website. You haven't registered, but you've seen.
Yes, just briefly. I've had a look at it.
Okay. Do you want to look at the federal polls? Let's. I don't know if you want to help me click in here. Issues. Say we go to foreign affairs. Okay. Let's start with foreign affairs. And one of the foreign affairs hot issues right now, if Afghanistan. You click there, and you can see that you have a few answers here, right? You want to just read them through, and if you want to read them out loud, then so that people can know what you're reading.
Sure. So what I see in front of me is a list of possible opinions. I guess people choose an opinion. The first option is the immediate withdrawal of troops. It says stop using aid as a tool of war and support diplomatic negotiations with all Afghanistan-parties. And that is the overwhelming majority of people who have logged in. It doesn't say how many people have voted,
yeah,
but
at the bottom. If you go all the way to the bottom, it says 82
okay,
people.
so 82 votes have been cast, and 59% of them support that. The second is withdrawal forces, send aid and support for diplomacy, listen to the people there, and develop a real understanding, bridge the divide, bring in peace.
It seems very similar to the first one. I don't quite see the difference. Whoever put the second one sees some difference. I personally don't see much difference, but that's why 18% of people say, well, I don't like that one, I like this one.
Okay.
The third one says,
withdraw from Afghanistan, redeploy in more needed areas such as Africa.
all right. And then the fourth one says,
Don't know, don't have enough information.
and there's one more.
I agree with our present foreign policy of intervention. It says it's our responsibility to participate in the U.S. war on terrorism, according to the
Okay.
website. And it's a very unpopular stance on the website, I'm happy to say.
Yeah.
The last possible, I guess there's two more. Second to last, I agree with our present foreign policy of intervention. We made a promise to the Afghan government and people to help protect and rebuild that we cannot back away from. And the last is we should gradually withdraw when our mission is completed.
So what would be your position or your party's position?
Well, the NDP has been consistent. We're saying that we've been in Afghanistan for about 7 years now, and the feedback that we're getting, things like violence has increased, opium production has increased, and more of our troops are losing their lives or coming home injured, which is all proof of a growing instability in Afghanistan. And the NDP has said that NATO is not the right body to be addressing the issues in Afghanistan. It's a military body, and what we need is a more comprehensive approach, and NATO can't provide that comprehensive approach. So the NDP has been saying that we need to take our troops out of Afghanistan, and we need to replace the NATO mission with a comprehensive approach that focuses on development and aid, and the UN is the most likely body that could do that. And for the long term, NATO is not going to be in Afghanistan for 10, 15 years.
All right. So I hear some comments of Mr. Layton specifically saying that we cannot abandon Afghanistan.
Yes, no one is saying that we should abandon Afghanistan, especially Jack Layton and the NDP. Our stance, we are taking this stance because we care about the people of Afghanistan and we want to do what's best for them, and the current mission doesn't seem to be achieving the goals of stability.
So it's not about withdrawing our troops, but moving them from one place to another, is it?
It's about providing a comprehensive strategy in Afghanistan, and NATO is a military body, and it's not capable of this comprehensive approach that we need, one that includes diplomacy.
So do you see any of these answers that would be closest to you, or you think you would add another one that is different?
Well, I imagine that I would probably add another one, I guess.
And that would say? What?
That we need a comprehensive approach for Afghanistan and that the NATO mission isn't working.
And how about the troops? Because this is specifically about the military intervention, the troops. How about the troops? Should they be withdrawn immediately, gradually, in February 2009? What is the position, your position on the troops specifically?
Well, my position and the NDP's position is that the mission's not working and therefore we need to withdraw our troops. We need to end this mission. But that does not mean abandoning Afghanistan. But this mission isn't working.
So how do you not abandon Afghanistan and bring the troops home?
Well, we replace NATO with a body that's capable of providing a comprehensive approach.
What kind of body is that? What's that body instead of the troops?
The UN. The UN has the ability. It's a world. NATO is focused on military. It's a military body. The UN has all sorts of agencies and programs and apactors in it that NATO doesn't have. Is more capable of providing a comprehensive approach.
Okay, so it would be our troops working with United Nations instead of NATO.
Canada should be supporting the UN and the UN's
All right.
efforts in the rest of the world.
Okay, that's clear. Now let's go to another question here. I hope you have more time than 10 minutes. Okay. Affiliation with NATO is another question here, as you can see. And I don't know if you want to scroll down and read them and see if you like one of them or if you would add something different.
I guess what the question is asking is, what should Canada's role in the international community be? And my stance on that is that Canada has this proud history of peacekeeping and diplomacy and being that honest broker of peace in the international community. And regardless of our affiliation with NATO or other bodies, that should be our main focus. And when we act in the international community, our goal should be to promote peace, to be that honest broker, fair trade, these types of issues, and that's what the NDP has been standing for, and that's like many Canadians, those are the values that I hear most often.
Okay, I hear you. Now, what is your position in our affiliation with NATO?
NATO is a military body. In the past, it has been involved in a number of missions that internationally have been considered important. But Canada should be working towards peace and diplomacy, should be bringing people together, that honest broker that we have been known to be.
I hear you.
Yes.
But we're affiliated to NATO. And the question here that some people are answering is, we should review it. The second one says we should immediately withdraw our affiliation with NATO. Some others says remain as the level-headed partner of NATO. Another one is a repeat of the first one, immediately withdraw affiliation with NATO. Another one says it's our fundamental responsibility to the Western Alliance and an unquestionable commitment.
I think it depends on what mission NATO is working on.
All right.
And Canada should always be striving to be that honest broker of peace in the international community, and its affiliation with any international body should be with that goal in mind.
Mm-hmm. So we should continue our affiliation with NATO and review case by case. Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
All right. I think that is exactly what Jack Layton said about a year ago. So good. Let's go to the next question here.
Let's talk about the environment.
Okay, environment. All right, environment, international agreements.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so you want the environment to be the last question?
Yes. Sure.
All right, so let's talk about the environment. What would be your position of what should Canada do and internationally about the environment?
Well, this is a global issue. Addressing climate change means that we are going to need to reduce our global emissions, which means that Canada is going to need to work with the international community towards cooperation on agreements that will actually achieve a global reduction in CO2 emissions. And I see you've pulled up here the Kyoto Accord. Kyoto was supposed to be the first step towards an international market for carbon, and it was Canada was there, we ratified it and made our commitment to the rest of the world, and then domestically we've done nothing. And it's been the NDP that's consistently said that not only should we be complying with Kyoto because we told the rest of the world we would, but we also have a responsibility to the rest of the world. Canada has one of the highest per capita emissions, which means that per person in Canada we use far more than our fair share if you look at the global amounts of CO2 emissions, and we have a responsibility. We're a wealthy country, we're an educated country, we can make the necessary changes, and therefore we should. So I would say, to answer specifically with the questions on here, that we should absolutely commit to the Kyoto Accord, and it's our deadline is coming near, and it's we have a conservative government that has been uninterested in moving forward, which means it's going to be harder and harder to reach those goals. But that shouldn't stop us from trying.
Right. So if you were registered here, you would go for the number one answer, which 88% have subscribed to.
Yes.
All right. Do you would you care to speak about free trade agreements?
I think we're going.
We have to take
Okay.
that right away.
Yes.
Do you have any opinion on legislation of recalling and referendums?
I think we're going.
We gotta
Yeah.
You gotta
So,
go. Okay.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet
My
you.
pleasure. I'm sorry that you don't have time to answer our questions.
Well, if you can send me an email, then
Well, I won't have the camera on the email. I have the
Right.
camera here, so I could get your answer to free trade agreements.
right. Thank you so much.
All right?
Take care.
Have a good day.